Hello and welcome to another video here at Hobbies and Happiness. My name's Dan.
I'm Jim. Today, we're doing a review on the card game Last Fish.
All right, so today, like Jim said, we are doing a review of the card game Last Fish. Last Fish is a card game by the company Whiskers. Full disclosure, they were kind enough to send us a review copy. So we took it out, took it for a spin, played a few games, and the TLDR, I really like this game.
It's a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun. I feel like I probably had more fun than you.
Yeah, I was kind of getting steamrolled there.
That's true. That's true.
But I was enjoying experiencing how cool some of these cards are.
Yeah, the one thing that we didn't play enough games to get through like the entire card pool, because these are all the cards. These are like all the cards, right? So real quick, a brief overview of the game. The best way that I would honestly try to describe it for kind of like basically our audience, it's basically Here to Slay, an upgraded version of Here to Slay almost, is kind of how I would describe it.
More complex version.
It is like it's more complex, but it's also I kind of feel like it's a little easier. And the reason I think it's easier, I think kind of comes down to just the way the cards are set up and then just how the game plays. Because I think fundamentally when you just add dice to any game, it's going to overcomplicate it just a little bit, right? And maybe overcomplicate isn't the right word, but it does add a complete another part of randomness to a game that you don't necessarily need. Now, that's not to say dice are bad and using dice and cards is bad. No, I'm not saying that at all. I just think when you don't have it at all, it just makes the game a little bit easier just to understand, I think. So in the game Last Fish, each player takes control of a champion. You are a champion of I can't remember what the name of the domain is, but you're in a pond. It is. It's like the Great Pond. I'm pretty sure it's like the Great Pond. So you take control of a champion. The champions don't really do much. It's just you're just one of these champion, and that's your champion card. Now they do have an ability, but you only really get to use it if you get a certain card. So we'll touch on that here a little bit in a second, but you take control of a champion, you have 3 item slots, and each player has 3 health. Your goal, to deplete your opponent's health. Pretty much.
Take them out.
That's pretty much
Any
it.
means necessary.
So on your turn, one of the fascinating things that I enjoyed was the encounter deck. So these cards here are what is called the encounter deck. So on your turn, you draw a card, and then you reveal the top card of the encounter deck. The encounter deck can be any number of things that happen, to draw 2 cards, to something bad happens to you. For example, this is Accident at the Vineyard. All players discard 1 card at random. Okay, and so this card here, let's see what this one is. Mirage at Showland. You may switch hands with any player of your choice. So there's a lot of different.
That's a May effect.
That is a May
you
effect.
Don't have to.
There's a lot of different effects in the encounter deck. And that, yes, again, that is another thing of randomness, right? But that's one thing that I kind of did enjoy a little bit, was as opposed to, okay, your turn, do whatever you're gonna do. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get off the encounter deck. So that's a little fun type thing that I enjoyed. Like, what was your initial take on that, the encounter deck part?
So I honestly thought it was a blast.
Yeah.
Because it was like, sure, I got to look at the stuff that was in my hand and maybe think about what Dan had in his hand and try to like play around some stuff. But then the encounter deck is just like, all of that stuff I thought, out the window, yeah. And I was like, now it's keeping me on my toes, and now I really have to be paying attention to what just happened, and now how can I get out of that situation?
One of the games, I was like 99% sure I was gonna win, right? Like Jim had like no cards in hand. I think you were down to 1 card.
I was top deck.
I'm pretty sure you were top deck, and I'm just like, all right, I've got this game in the bag. Only thing that can happen is the encounter deck. Like something bad could happen, and then that could just go very wrong for me. Because so I knew I had it, but just that thing in the back of my head of, you never know what could happen here. like that's fun. That is just that's a fun thing that I do like in the game. Okay, so let me get this little handy reference card here. I always love these. I always love these in any card game. Here to Slay, they also have these as well, but they run you through your turn. 1, draw a card. 2, discover a card from the counter deck. Discover is essentially draw mechanic, right? And then you can choose to do one of 2 things. The one thing you can do, which I always like, is the ability to just draw cards. Yep. So you don't have to do anything, right? You can draw cards, but then you can also play other cards. So there are 5 different card types in the game, okay? And the nice thing about these is they're all color coded, so you know exactly what it is. So like if you can see all these cards here, they all have distinct colors. So you know, before even reading the card, you know what kind of card it is, okay? The red and yellow cards, the red is the attack card, the yellow are the item cards. You can only play one of these a turn, and you can't do both. You can either attack your opponent, or you can choose to equip an item to yourself, okay? The other cards, the yellow and red, are the...
Green and blue.
Green, did I say yellow?
Yellow and red.
I did. Yeah. Green are the spell cards, the blue are the instant cards. Also, I always love instants. The ability to play at instant speed.
It's the best thing you can do, honestly.
It is. In any card game, it's the best thing you can do, the ability to play at instant speed, okay? And then the other card is a curse. You do have a curse over there.
Yes, I do.
And those are blue. Okay. Now, so
it's like a dark blue or
yeah,
a dull blue.
It's like a dark blue.
It's like a gray. It's a gray. We'll call it that.
So they run through exactly what you can do on your turn on these handy reference cards. Like I said, always love those kinds of cards.
And also on the reference card, when talking about the specific curse or instant, it's also matching the color as well.
It does, yeah. And then the other side has the keywords, which again, you know, any card game, there's always keywords, and you need to know what exactly those keywords do. So this, I feel like I cannot stress enough. I really do love these. I love these in any card game, phenomenal. So again, opponents and players all have 3 health. Your goal, deplete the health. One thing we were talking about is the first game, we're like, man, I don't know if 3 health, if that's gonna be enough. Curious, I remember after playing those games, I'm like, I think 3 is actually pretty good.
Yeah, the second one.
Even in a 2-player game, because I feel like 2-player games are going to be a lot more well divided from multiplayer games. So like the experience, I really think 3 is actually a good number. Because initially I'm like, actually it should probably be 5, but I think 3 is actually pretty good. The other thing with health that I should point out is item. If you have an item equipped, that item will be able to be dealt 1 point of damage. So once that item is dealt damage, that item will be destroyed and sent to the discard pile, essentially. So there are ways of going above 3 health with your items, right? So there's a couple cards that I did want to talk about that I just thought were kind of fun. Pond of Greed, it's a spell card. What do you think, Jim? What would you think Pond of Greed does?
You know, with all of my vast knowledge of the Pokemon and the Hokeyman and the Magics, I would say it allows you to draw 2 cards.
Yes, that is very true. This is one of the first. I drew this in my opening hand in the first game we played. I saw this card when I'm sleeving all these up. I'm like, of course, Pond of Greed.
The Holy Trinity right there is in the game.
Yep. So all the yellow cards are the items. This one is a Marauder's Hammer, which doesn't really do much. It's just a basic item. But when you have one of the heroes, the Marauder's Hammer is actually pretty powerful. And then the instants. The instants are the most powerful cards in the game. This one is called Gourd of the South. It says until the end of the current player's turn, any damage dealt to you is also dealt to them. So whoever's turn it is, if you take damage, they also take damage as well. Yeah. So in a 2-player game, and again, that's only best played at instant speed because you want to play it in response to something. And then this card is an attack called Crescent Lighting. Target a player, wound 1, bypassing any items the target has equipped and directly damage their HP. Basic attack.
Pretty good.
So very, very cool. Like I said, I feel like this game is just Here to Slay on steroids. But you've got a couple other cards there that you had fun with.
Yeah, these are some of my favorite cards in the entire game. And 2 of them are instants. One's a curse. We'll go ahead with the curse first. Yeah. Iron Whisker, which it's kind of weird to me that this is a curse card because it's just doesn't really do curse-like things, I think.
Yeah.
So Iron Whisker, discard 1 to add a card of the same type from the discard pile to your hand. But if you instead sacrifice 1 card, you may add any card from the discard pile into your hand. So when you're able to play cards, so say you're going to be playing as many spells as you want. Say you play Pond of Greed, that's now in the discard. Yeah. We play Iron Whisker to pitch any card. Well, not any card.
Or sack an item.
Sack an item.
Which there's items that say when it's destroyed you draw a card.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the value.
I don't know if that works though, because sacrifice for like magic terms.
It does work. It does
work.
work.
Works?
It does work.
Wow.
Yeah, it works. It says when it's pretty sure I'd have to look at the card, but I do think the card actually says when it hits discard essentially.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how it gets.
I thought it got around it because the keyword was sacrifice
or destroy.
And not destroy.
I think. Again, that's one you'd have to look at the rule book to say, right?
So you're able with Iron Whisker, you're able to manipulate the graveyard and just get a lot more cards from that. Then we have Guard Counter, or should I say Deflecting Palm. Phenomenal card here. Redirect any player's attack to target... I read this wrong. Reading's hard, Dan.
Yes, it is.
Redirect any player's attack card to target any other player of your choice, including the original attacker. So if Dan ever attacks me, let's say like a 3 attack, I'm like, no, you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great card.
Yeah, one of my favorite cards, and
this card is this card's crazy. Yes.
Absolute Serenity.
Yep.
When I first read this card, I thought it was great. I read it again, amazing. I read it the third time, broken, just broken.
Yeah.
So, negate the effect of any card played. Very good.
Yep.
Discard that card and any duplicate copies and their effects. Phenomenal. Then end that player's turn. Great. Yeah. We're not done yet.
So good.
Then, if it's their turn, so if it's your opponent's turn, no cards can be played in response to this card.
Oh, man.
Negate your stuff and your turn. Can't stop me. Let's go to my turn.
That's like four magic cards on one card.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. So, basically, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun playing this game, okay? Yeah. So before we get to what we didn't like, I think, like I said, the best way that I can think to describe this game is Here to Slay on steroids. Yeah. The one thing that I remember talking to you about at the end of that was if I had the choice between Here to Slay or Last Fish, I would pick Last Fish.
Yeah.
Every time I would pick Last Fish.
Yep.
Now, you did say you'd pick Here to Slay depending upon the group.
The play group.
The play group, yes.
If they're not really big into games, I would think like a more simplistic version would just be really good for them.
Yeah, because I do think this game is a little bit heavier than Here to Slay. Like Here to Slay is a, for lack of a better term, more dumbed down version. Like this is Here to Slay with magic terminology, basically.
Yeah. If you're a card game player, you're gonna love this game.
Yes, correct. 100%. I 100% agree. Right. So, and that's where I'm like, I would choose this. Yeah. Like this is a card game for me. Like for somebody who is looking for that more in-depth strategy, more synergies to look for.
Yep.
I'm gonna find this here. Right. Now, Here to Slay still fun, but it's for a different crowd, I think.
Yeah, different audience.
Yeah. Now, is there anything else you want to touch on before we get to what we don't like?
Ooh, I don't believe so.
Okay. So let's talk about what we don't like. There's two things that I did want to point out. The heroes. The heroes didn't do much, unfortunately. Yeah. Now, each hero does have a signature spell or a signature card, but you only get to use that if you draw. Now, there are some heroes where if your opponents play their signature card, you do get some type of effect. But I don't like I am only able to use my hero under certain circumstances. Yeah. This is where I like Here to Slay, where it's like, hey, I always have access to this certain ability that I'm always going to use, right? I want to have a reason to play this hero, okay? Now, not all bad, because when you were able to use them, like they were good, they were fun, but I just want to be able to use it more.
Yeah. I definitely see it. So like the signature move is a lot of the times the game, I guess like game finisher for some of the characters.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just gives you a lot of value.
Yeah.
For two of them off the top of my head, the ones that you played, they were just like
win the
end
game, basically.
Yeah, and I
it
was just like, oh, this happens, I get to draw some cards. So, but
and it's not like it literally was like you win the game.
Yeah.
There had to be some setup, and like you
Yeah,
had to know what was coming and like the way to set it up. But if you got there, it was basically kind of win the game.
Yeah.
Assuming you didn't have any instance to stop
Right,
it, basically. So that was the one thing. The second thing, I know you noticed it. I don't think you pointed it out.
Yeah.
The cards, the words on the cards, too small.
oh yeah,
They were too small. I'm able to read them just fine,
And as you
but
saw, I had a
literally
problem when I was reading it.
I had to really look. The words are just very small.
Yeah.
So if that's an issue for you, then you might have to be like really looking at it. But that's a very minor complaint. I think. That's like a. Is that an accessibility thing? I mean, it might be. Some people might think of that as an accessibility thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, if there's a way to make the words bigger, I would do it. But I think I get why they did it like this, because if you look at the cards, the art is like the entirety of the card. Yeah. Now, the artwork, super cute. Super cute. The first time I saw when we were contacted about this, I looked it up and I'm looking at the artwork. I'm like, oh my word, this is just so cute.
great.
This is just so cute, and it literally is. Like it's super cute. And yes, I mean, and any card game, more art, please. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah. So again, to finish it up, I had a blast. Had a lot of fun with this game. So Last Fish going on Kickstarter February 28th. Make sure you head over to the Kickstarter page, back it if you want. Go check it out. That way you can go check out the campaign. But yeah, Last Fish by, who was it again? Whiskers. There we go. Yeah. Do you have any final comments there, Jimbo? To wrap it up.
Oh man, it's a blast.
I haven't.
If you're losing, it's a blast.
I haven't. And in all honesty, I haven't had this much fun with a new game for a while.
Yeah.
Like this is something that is literally like right up our alley.
Yeah.
It really is. So, yeah. So again, February 28th, go check out the Kickstarter if you want to back it. Yeah, but that's all we got for today. Again, if you like this video, be sure to head over to the YouTube page, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more card game content like this. And again, Kickstarter February 28th, go check this out. All right, thanks everyone for being here. We'll catch you in the next video. See everybody.
Take care.